So, our today's trip is not a very long one. We'll move a couple of 1,000 kilometers to northeastern Poland, to the place called Ruspuda. I understand that probably you haven't heard about it, so I will tell you what is this. This is one of the wildest rivers and valleys in Poland. And as you see, the river is rather small, but it's very beautiful. Let me show you something about it. You know, it's a perfect place to, you know, to the people, but also to the nature. There are many rare species living there, like wolves, like lynxes, like eagles, but also very rare plants are living there. So this is the Polish wilderness. So can you imagine that somebody decided to destroy it? Who can be such an idiot? Unfortunately, I have to admit my government was. So in August 2006, they decided to break the European laws and build there a new highway to Lithuania. Some 15,000 lorries are expected there every day. Thousands of trees would have to be cut. Moors will dry up in 5 to 10 years, and plants will die, and animals will have to move somewhere else. This is the computer simulation of how the highway would look like, crossing the valley. This is a guy who led the nationwide campaign to save the river. He lives in a forest with his wife and some storks and some other animals he takes care of, and he is a reporter for my newspaper. He's called Adam Wajrak. And he started his campaign to save the river on the front page of my newspaper. My newspaper is the largest quality nationwide daily in Poland. We have at about 6 million readers, and an average circulation is at about 450,000 copies. So we wrote a story that the government decided to kill it, and we asked readers to participate, to engage in saving it. So we asked them to sign the petition letter to Mr. President. They could do it in print, of course, but they could also log into our website and submit their signature online. As a newspaper, of course, our main task was to inform about it. So we showed the alternative routes that are possible. The red one is the route that the government decided to do, and the yellow one is the route proposed by some independent scientists, what could be done. We also decided to show people what is the real beauty of that river, because it's not very popular in Poland. So we had a problem, I have to admit, because even our newspaper, that is the largest one, you know, we didn't have enough photos to show it. So we just asked readers, please, please help us to show the beauty of the river. And they started to send us their own photos they took during holidays, and we were publishing them in the newspaper. And of course, as a newspaper, we had the power to go to the Ministry of Environment, to the Prime Minister, to ask them questions. Why are you going to do that? What's the purpose for that? What's the reason? As a newspaper in the European Union, we could also ask some politicians from abroad, and we could ask them the same questions, and they were astonished that the Polish government is planning such a thing. But what's also important, we started to ask questions to young leaders of opinions. We are looking for young people interested in environmental issues, and we were doing interviews with them. The same way that we do interviews with, you know, ministries or politicians, and we are publishing them in newspapers, so we were empowering their view to our readers. And what's more, we decided that, you know, of course we have a large circulation, but maybe there is a lot of people in Poland who could be informed about this case, but they are not reading our newspaper, so maybe we can publish a special edition of the paper and give it away for free in the whole country. We also decided that, you know, of course, we have some readers that are young, especially young adults between, I don't know, 18 and 24, but of course, there is a lot of people who are not reading our newspapers. So if you wanna tell them the story that we believe is important, you have to go after them. So we went to Woodstock. That is the largest rock music festival in Poland. Some 300,000 young people are attending them. We had a tent, we had a free daily, and our editor was giving it away to people, yeah, to young readers. And as you see, you know, this is the newspaper they wanted to read. It's amazing. It was the only paper really, you know, given away or that entered the area of the festival. But because of the topics, because of the message that we held, young readers decided to read it. And what's more, when people started to learn more about Ruspuda, they decided they have to protest for themselves, and they started to organize marches around the country. At least in 20 cities there were organized large protests of young people, and of course also some older people, who wanted to show their support for the campaign. And it was totally uncontrolled by us. We just served as a communication tool for them. So we informed that another march will be organized in that city on that date, at that hour. But people did it for themselves. We also developed a sort of an icon for the whole campaign, and it was a green ribbon. So we inserted this to the newspaper, so you could put it on your, I don't know, on your suit if you wanted to show the support. But you could also download it from the website, so you could place it on your blog or on your own website and show that you share the same view about the Ruspuda River. You know, it was a huge debate in Poland. Maybe you know those guys. They used to be our prime minister on the left and the president on the right. And you know, they were divided because the president, after we were pressing him, he said that he supports the view that the Ruspuda should be saved. His own brother, twin brother, didn't want to hear about it. He called that, you know, those ecologists, those environmentalists are like terrorists. But the whole country was really discussing the thing. Maybe these youngsters may be right. Maybe it's a good thing to rethink the issue, and maybe the river should be placed somewhere else. But it was also a debate on a more important topic. How can we modernize our country with no harm to the nature? It was the topic for comments and debates in television, in radio, and in many other newspapers, not only ours. Another debate was who should really decide about it, because of course some local people supported the highway because it means, you know, there will be more money in the region. They will make money on building the highway. So who should decide if the river should be killed or not? Is it a national issue or a local issue? So the whole country was debating, and one day, in the February of 2007, we saw that something happened in the Ruspuda Valley. So some workers went there. So a lot of people, young people from around the country, among our journalists, they decided to set up a camp in the valley during winter time and to defend the valley and to discuss with the supporters of the highway. And what you see is that, you know, it was heavy winter. It was like minus 20 degrees of Celsius, and they spent their nights, you know, they were totally frozen, and they couldn't survive, of course, without help of some locals or support of well-known people like, I don't know, Polish actors or singers who decided to go there to show their support. And so it was a sort of a protest that could be done on site, but it was also a media event, because our reporter, who spent there 6 weeks in these conditions, he was writing a daily blog on our website, and it quickly became the most popular blog on our platform, and we have 200,000 blogs on our platform. So you can imagine it must have been a very popular blog. He was posting photos, he was taking some movies with his mobile phone, he was putting everything on the website, and he was telling the story, how it is to fight for the Ruspuda from this place, how it is to survive in these conditions, and so on. Finally, Ruspuda was rescued in a way, because the European Union Court decided to stop building of this highway, and it was of course the first important victory. We were not sure, however, if the government would listen to European Union decision, so we had an ace in the hole. Our reporter and some other environmentalists managed to buy a piece of land that the highway would cross, so they could stop it, even if, you know, the government would again think that the European Union is not powerful enough to stop them, to stop their plans. Another effect of the whole campaign was that Raspuda as a place, as a tourist destination, was as popular as never before. And it may be even dangerous because there are so many, you know, travel guides in the bookstores about Raspuda that you can go there with kayaks and you can, you know, spend there the holiday, that we are now afraid a little bit that maybe, you know, there are too many supporters of Raspuda. Raspuda also became a sort of a pop cultural icon, so you can find songs about Raspuda, you can find comics that are sold in bookstores about Raspuda, about this is the fight for Raspuda. It's called Terminator at the Raspuda River. Yeah, so you can imagine what kind of story it was, and it all started with just one cover story in the paper. And what's more important from my point of view as a citizen, as a Polish citizen, is that it became an issue at the elections, at the election time. And young people decided that it was so important for them that maybe if they want to show their view about the issue, they should go to the elections, and maybe they should say no to the ruling party. And I can tell you, they lost. And what we know from the psychological research is that they lost because they lost young people. And what about the results for the newspaper? Let me give you some numbers. I told you that we were collecting signatures to Mr. President, and we collected 150,000 signatures, and of which only 10,000 came by post in print, cut out from the printed newspaper, and 140,000 came from online. We got in total 10,000 letters and emails that were sent to Gazeta. A lot of them were published, but of course we couldn't, you know, we couldn't manage to publish all of them, or even 10% of them. We estimate that thousands of people marched in 20 cities to show their support for the campaign, and even more, hundreds of thousands of people got a green ribbon that used to be an icon for the campaign. At about 100, the most active supporters of the campaign spent 6 weeks in a camp at the Raspuda River. Of course, you can say it was just a local issue for Poland. So, what are the lessons for your countries? So, let me try to give you some tips. I personally believe that too often we are thinking about young readers as about, you know, those strange guys who are interested in everything except what we are writing about in our newspaper. So we are trying to launch special sections, teen sections for young readers, because we believe, you know, maybe if we start writing about those, you know, bloody boring things like Britney Spears, maybe they will come to our newspaper. We also did it. I also did it. I can tell you, it doesn't work. It didn't work for me, at least. So I just believe that it's much better to look for an issue that is interesting for all the generations, for both young people and for old people. And the nature can be one of the issues. And what's also important when you talk about talking with young people, I believe, is that they really need a leader. They need a leader. And you can be a leader. We chose our journalist, who was very good journalist writing about nature, to be a leader for the whole community of young people in Poland. And he was credible in their eyes. You know, a lot of politicians are not credible. Maybe the editor writing for the business section wouldn't be credible, but this guy was credible, and he was credible not only because he covered the topic, but also because he sacrificed himself to spend 6 weeks in the winter in this camp because he went to make some seminars at the rock music festival, because he was giving away his paper to those youngsters, you know, with tattoos and, you know, some rings in their hairs or noses or whatever. So he showed he's credible from their point of view, and I believe it's a good way to do it. And what's also important is that young people, you know, at least in Poland, they like to get some ideas and tools they could use. You know, usually when you ask them, what do you care about? They can tell you, oh, it's a problem. I think, you know, I don't have anything to care about because my parents are taking care about everything. So you really need to give them an idea. This is a topic that you should discuss for. And people are happy to discuss this topic. And then you should give them a tool, like a blogging platform, for example, as we did, or show them that you can join the campaign by signing a letter, maybe by marching on the street, and people are happy because you give them the tools, you give them the ideas. And of course, another question is, could we succeed with this campaign if we were stuck just to the printed newspaper? I don't believe in it. You know, we were thinking about saving the Rozpuda river and valley, not about saving a circulation of the newspaper. And that's why I believe we succeeded with the circulation. Because I were using any medium I could. I were calling, you know, my friends from newspapers that are competing with me. I was calling television stations. I was calling radio stations. We were calling, you know, organizers of the rock music festival, rock musicians, actors, singers, whoever, yeah? We were successful because it was a total campaign, and readers felt that, you know, the whole thing is done by Gazeta, so they believed Gazeta is really, how to call it, you know, it succeeds when it wants to do something. Thank you very much. I hope it will be helpful also for you to reach some young readers. Thank you very much.